Good morning. It's Monday morning, which means it's time for another episode of Brunansky's vlog. This is episode 10. Thanks for stopping by. We're going to go ahead and jump into the news segment here to start the day off, but before we do that, I want to make sure that I remind everybody that if you haven't clicked subscribe, now would be a great time to go ahead and do that. Also, if you enjoy any portion of the show as we're going through it, go ahead and give me the thumbs up. Now, if you have any thoughts about anything, that's what we have the comment section for, so please be encouraged to utilize the comment section to share what you think about all the topics we discuss, and if there's anything else that you enjoyed that maybe we didn't get to this week. We're going to go ahead and move now into the news segment. Thanks again, because every Monday we talk about movie news, movie reviews, and a little bit more. All right, this is episode 10 of Brunansky's vlog. Let's go ahead and move to that movie news segment. In the news, Fox has set Drew Goddard up to write and direct the new X-Force movie with both Josh Brolin and Ryan Reynolds expected to return as Cable and Deadpool. Goddard, as discussed last week, is currently writing and directing Bad Times at the El Royale, starring Jeff Bridges and Chris Hemsworth, and he was nominated for an Oscar for his work on the script for The Martian. So this is pretty good news if you're a fan of his work. And if you enjoyed Daredevil, because he was one of the front runners for Daredevil as far as writing and everything else goes. So I think Drew Goddard is a pretty nice pick. Now, I'm not too familiar with X-Force in general. Like, I know that Shatterstar is part of it. He's got like swords and he has like a crazy outfit and stuff like that. They're more of like a military group, if you will, a special ops team of the X-Men universe. And Cable is usually the leader of that. Wolverine and Deadpool have stepped in from time to time, but primarily like the early runs were Cable leading the X-Force. So it makes sense that they're kind of going this way, and Drew Goddard's a pretty talented writer, especially like with what he was able to do with Netflix's Daredevil. Like, that was really impressive for an initial offering, because all we had up to that point was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was not that great in my opinion. I got through like the first season, I was like, and then, subsequent seasons I just have lost all interest in. So fortunately, Netflix is strong in regards to how they deliver their content and the quality of their content, even though some of their seasons have been hit or miss. Across the board though, outside of Iron Fist, all of the seasons have been entertaining and well written, up to a point for me personally, and then there's a couple episodes here and there where I'm like, but overall, I think Drew Goddard's a nice pick for this. He's got a working relationship already with Fox because of The Martian. He's also got a working relationship with these Marvel properties. So I think he's going to do a pretty good job. I want to see how everything shakes out with Deadpool 2, because I want to see what Josh Brolin looks like and how he delivers Cable. Plus, we know that we've got Domino in there as well. So if she comes back for the X-Force, then we'll have three characters that we're already familiar with kind of joining this special ops military team to kind of see what they're going to take on from Drew Goddard's perspective. So I think this could be a lot of fun, and I think the story will be well written, which is one of the most important things. So I'm thumbs up on this. I hope you guys are too. Marvel Disney released new character posters for the upcoming movie Thor Ragnarok, as well as a new teaser trailer. The trailer dropped during the NFL season opener last Thursday night. Link for the new trailer is in the show notes below. I love this trailer so much. As soon as it dropped on Twitter, I was like, wait, is this like a new thing, or are these websites like reporting an old thing? And then I started seeing all these new posters dropping, and I was like, what is going on? This is amazing. So I went over, watched it, and I loved it. I loved it. This is already my most anticipated film. Now, before people freak out and like, what? You're Star Wars, Jeremy? Okay, I get it. I get Rian Johnson's going to do great with Star Wars. I have the highest expectation for that film. I'm looking forward to it, but I already am expecting that it's going to be great. With Thor Ragnarok, I'm expecting it to be a super fun time, but I don't know how great it's going to be, because even though I loved the first Thor movie, that was one of my favorite films from the Marvel Cinematic Universe until Winter Soldier, and it's still in the top 5 even where we are right now, past Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. The original Thor by Kenneth Branagh is still in my top 5. The second Thor just was kind of boring. Like, it just didn't go anywhere. Like, I was very disappointed in like how the story did not really move and how they relied on like cheap comedy with the character, like the side characters, to try and it just wasn't a villain that was wasted, completely wasted. So I'm hoping that this third one, I'm hoping it's going to be like the Bond franchise where like every other one is super good. So that's what I'm hoping with Thor. Like the first one was amazing, the second one, the third one, hopefully it's amazing. So that is my most anticipated. So with the Justice League, like I'm still kind of meh on the whole thing. Like I'm looking forward to it more knowing that Joss Whedon's getting writer's credit, because as we talked last week on this show, that probably means, per everything we discussed, that he's been in talks with Zack Snyder and the other writer. So that gives me hope that they're kind of trying to keep the same concept or same plot to deliver on, but they're just making it, the overall story, better. So that has me hopeful. But I'm still just like, when it comes out, it comes out. But it's not really on my calendar. Like Thor Ragnarok, the beginning of November, I cannot wait. And I put the link in the show notes below if you want to watch it. It's a very short little teaser trailer. Marvel has this thing where they like to kind of rehash the same trailer, but just give you a little bit more. So like the first trailer will come out, and then the second trailer will come out, and it'll be almost identical to the first one, but you'll get a little bit more footage. This is kind of like a short one where we get to see stuff that we didn't get to see before, which I really liked. In fact, I found a still of one of the shots and made it like my Facebook banner. Like it's Thor fighting Surtur, but Surtur is literally shooting flames at Thor with a fire sword. A fire sword, people. This movie is going to be nuts. I cannot wait for this movie. It's just fantastic. I can't wait. Check out the trailer. Like I said, it's really short. Link is in the show notes below. Lucasfilm has parted ways with director Colin Trevorrow. Episode 9 has not yet begun filming, as principal photography is slated to begin January of 2018. Star Wars Episode 9 is scheduled for release May of 2019. At present, no word of who will be directing has been announced. Well, this isn't the first time Star Wars and Lucasfilm have had issues with directors. In fact, with the most recent Ron Howard involvement for Han Solo, like that was like the big whoa. Like when you're almost done filming a movie and then you fire the directors, or the directors leave, or whatever, however you want to paint that picture, that is pretty telling as to how working relationships are going overall. Now, I'm a little bit more excited about Star Wars Episode 9 knowing that, like, at the very beginning, before principal photography has begun, and for those of you who are watching going, what does that mean? Principal photography is when they just start shooting the movie. Whatever scene that they're going to start filming with, because they don't shoot in order. Movies, they shoot the scenes in whatever order that they feel is necessary as their storyboarding. So what we see on the big screen is clearly not the order in which they shot the film. So whatever scene they decide, that's the first day of principal photography. So like, I'm kind of happy if they knew a couple months in advance this just isn't going to work out, that they parted ways with Trevorrow. It's still kind of following that same, like, what's going on at Lucasfilm? Like, is Kathleen Kennedy, did like her and Trevorrow's ideas just not mix at all? Like, what, like, was it just a slight disagreement, or was it like such a huge departure from what she saw the big picture being for the Star Wars universe that she's like, we just can't do this and you've got to go? So we don't know. We probably won't know until after the movie's released and they do like a tell-all book, or it's a Blu-ray special features, or Life in Star Wars, the 60 minutes documentary or whatever, So I'm kind of happy that they were like, yeah, dude, you gotta go. Like, just let's just, no one's happy. Let's just call it quits and let's just get you out of here and bring in somebody that's going to kind of fit more in line with what we picture the Star Wars universe being. And rumors are suggesting that like Episode 9 is going to be like the end of the Skywalker saga, right? So we'd have 9 movies with the Skywalker family. So from the very first Phantom Menace, where we meet Anakin, who eventually turns into Darth Vader, going all the way through, Episode 9 with Luke, possibly. We don't know if he's going to survive, but we're assuming he survives into Episode 9. Like, we lost Han, with the passing of Carrie Fisher. I'm under the assumption that we're not going to have a Leia in Episode 9, but I can't confirm that. This is just a feeling I have. So, bring in the right director to end the Skywalker saga. These 9 films, it's very Shakespearean from start to finish. on the characters going up, coming down, going up, coming down, with, you know, good versus bad and everything else. It's been a lot of fun for us as Star Wars fans to kind of watch the family story unfold. So bringing the right director to close out that saga, if that's what you're going to do, I'm hopeful that they're going to find the right guy. Now, Rian Johnson could always come back. He's already got a great working relationship with Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy. J.J. Abrams, he's voiced that he would like to do another Star Wars movie, so he could do it. And maybe a little less lens flare, but otherwise, you know, we're pretty good with that. You know, there's a lot of other very talented directors that could step in and kind of take over if their ideas mesh with the big picture that Lucasfilm is going for. So I'm hopeful, because we still have, you know, it's September, so if they're not looking to start shooting until January, we've got time. So I'm hopeful that this time is going to be used to really kind of build out what this final story is going to be in this third trilogy, the ninth film overall for the Star Wars continuing universe, not the offsets like Rogue One or Han Solo, but like the overall story arc. And, you know, we can get excited as fans knowing that Lucasfilm is still very hands-on, and they're still going to deliver a great product to us as movie watchers, movie fans, and Star Wars lovers. 47 Meters Down is getting a sequel. Johannes Roberts is looking to return as writer and director for what will be titled 48 Meters Down. The sequel is currently being shopped to buyers at TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival. Now, I didn't see this one. I missed this one. I was looking over movies that are still in theaters, and somehow this movie popped back up in theaters, and I was like, wait, didn't this movie come out at like the beginning of summer? Like, so I thought maybe since it's being re-released in theaters, they're doing like some type of Oscar push, you know, for any number of either acting, writing, special effects, costume design, right? Like the myriad options of Oscars that you can win for making a movie. But apparently, maybe it was released because they're shopping the sequel and they wanted it to be fresh in people's minds. So I may try and get out to the theaters while it's doing like a short-term re-release all of a sudden, just to see it, because it did gangbusters in the theaters for like a smaller kind of independent film. It made a lot of money, so I might go check it out now that they've greenlit a sequel, or I might just wait until it hits Redbox or VOD or something like that. I don't know, but if you saw 47 Meters Down, like, go ahead and throw it in the comments below and let us know what you thought about that film, because apparently it did well enough to warrant a sequel, and it definitely made enough money as an independent film to warrant a sequel. So, you know, I kind of want to see the first one now, because if the same guy's coming back to write and direct, like, clearly he was on the right track with everything that was going on. So I'm curious, and I would like to hear your opinion. So if you saw the movie, leave your comments below and get that conversation going about 47 Meters Down, going into now a sequel, 48 Meters Down. And let's just talk about that. Rotten Tomatoes is back in the news. Hollywood studios are blaming the poor summer box office performance on the website. An aggregate score from critics around the internet seems to be the reason for the slowest summer in almost 20 years, the New York Times reports. Link for the article in the show notes below. So it's kind of weird that Rotten Tomatoes is getting like all this pushback from studios. All this website is doing is taking the information that paid critics, like actual like movie critics, like that they write about, and then people like us who are film fans and lovers and just like into entertainment and everything else on YouTube or blogs or whatever, and then we go see these movies and we say, well, yay or nay, like what do we think? And then we give all that information to Rotten Tomato, and then Rotten Tomato goes, okay, well, here's the results of said data. That's Rotten Tomatoes. Like, Rotten Tomatoes doesn't sit around and go, well, we think the movie should be this, or we think the movie should be that. So if you have a low box office summer, the lowest in almost 20 years, I don't see how you look at the critics and be like, well, this is your guys' fault. Like, all we did was go see your movies. Like, if you made a bad movie, you made a bad movie. Like, I don't get it. Like, just, like, I'm not saying that movie making is easy. I'm not saying that at all. It's very difficult. Like, I get it. If you're investing all of this money, why are we getting such, like, half good, half bad, sometimes all bad films? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So I went through and I was like, well, what are some of the lowest Rotten Tomato scores for the summer blockbusters from this summer? And I was like, let's just take a look and see if the movies are good, in my opinion, from what I wrote the reviews on. If I wrote a review for that particular movie or not, we'll find out as we go through this list. But like, was this a good movie or was this not a good movie? And then we'll kind of base it on what the aggregate score is on Rotten Tomatoes. So let's go ahead and cut to that. Let's cut to that slide right now. So first, here's the movies we have. We have The Dark Tower, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, The Hitman's Bodyguard, Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. These were not the only summer blockbusters, but these were the ones that were on the Rotten Tomatoes website the lowest. So movies like Wonder Woman, War for the Planet of the Apes, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. These are summer blockbusters, but these were both critically and not commercially, but critically and then also audience score fresh, right? So the movies that we just listed on that previous slide, those were critically horrible. So let's take a look at those, and then I'll just kind of recap, because I did see all of those films. So let's just recap real quick. So let's go back to that slide. So we have The Dark Tower, critical was 16% rotten, audience scored 54% rotten. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, critical response 30% rotten, but the audience scored it 64% fresh. Hitman's Bodyguard, 39% rotten, critical response. Audience scored at 72% fresh. Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, 51% rotten for critical response and 56% rotten audience score. So out of these scores, like, I don't think I see anything surprising. I don't think you were surprised. Maybe you were by the audience score for Pirates of the Caribbean. Maybe you were for Hitman's Bodyguard not being critically received well. I don't know. But as far as I can tell, like, Pirates of the Caribbean was an okay film. I get why it's got a high audience score. That didn't really surprise me. It's not a great movie, but it is entertaining. And then, they bring back the originals at the very end of the film. So we get all of that cast from the first Pirates movie, which is nice. And then Hitman's Bodyguard, not a great movie, but a super fun, super entertaining flick for the summer. Like, just a fun action comedy. One of the best I've seen in a long time. And I'm not surprised that got a great audience score, but critically it was not well received, because it's not, like I said, it's not really a great movie. Like, the writing in it it's predictable, but it's so much fun and it's so over the top. I'm not surprised that people loved it, because I loved it. I walked out of the theater and I was just like, that was so much fun. So, but when you look at these movies, these are your summer blockbusters, and these are some of the lowest on the Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter, right? So on the website, if you go to the summer blockbusters, you can look at, you can filter it to see what's high, what's low. So it's these movies weren't great. Hitman's Bodyguard was #1 for 3 weeks, but it didn't make a lot of money. But it came out towards the end of August, at the end of the summer blockbusters. So maybe if it would have been somewhere, in between Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and Wonder Woman, maybe it would have made more money. We don't know. So it's what is your marketing campaign, studios? When are you placing the movies? What's the faith you have in these films? It's just, you can find, there's this thing on Twitter that's floating around that actually shows a comparison of the Rotten Tomatoes score and the box office dollars earned. So movies that have a high across the board, fresh for critical and audience makes more money. And then you start seeing on the graph, as it goes and goes, the more rotten the movie, the less money it makes, which obviously should happen, right? If a movie's bad, why would people pay to see it? So you can find that on Twitter, it's floating around. It just popped up pretty recently, within a month or so. So check out that. But yeah, these are just bad movies, and you probably didn't market them well, and you placed it at the wrong time of year. If Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, I get it. I enjoyed it for what it was as a visual spectacle film. The story was kind of the dialogue was but the action in it and other aspects of the film, especially the way it was designed and the way it looked, and the graphics in it, the CGI was just luminescent. It was great. But maybe don't put that right, maybe switch it around, either put it towards March, maybe put it back towards September, do something where it's not in the heart of summer. And maybe it'll make more money. It might be more well received at that time of year than, say, going up against Spider-Man Homecoming, right? So that's just my 2 cents. If you think something different, that's what the comment section's for. Go ahead and leave your thoughts and share kind of what you think studios might be able to do to better equip theaters with the quality films to actually boost the income of their money from us paying to go see their films. So help the studios out. Throw your comments below. Honorable mentions this week. Gavin O'Connor is in talks to write and direct Suicide Squad 2. Apple and Amazon are looking to buy the film rights to the James Bond franchise. Photos have surfaced of Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury in the new Queen film. Andy Muschietti might possibly direct a Dracula prequel. Yep, a prequel entitled Dracul. Will Smith posted a photo of him in the cast of the new Disney live-action Aladdin movie online. Alright, so that pretty much wraps it up for the news this week. If you want to see those photos that were mentioned, I believe Entertainment Weekly dropped the photos of Rami Malek for Queen, so you can go ahead and hop on that and check that out. It should be pretty easy to find in general. Now, we're going to go ahead and cut now to the next segment, so let's go ahead and roll to that right now. Alright, it's Monday morning, so let's go ahead and take a look at the box office breakdown and check out what you guys were seeing this weekend. So coming in at number 5, we have Wind River with $3,210,000. Coming in at number 4, we have Annabelle Creation with $4 million. Coming in at number 3, The Hitman's Bodyguard with $4,850,000. Coming in at number 2, we have Home Again with $9,028,222. Coming in at number 1, Stephen King's It, coming in at $117,150,000. So let's keep it real. People are surprised, myself included, by these numbers. For a rated R horror movie to break $100 million in September is craziness. Third highest grossing opening weekend. Wow. You guys in force were at the theaters this weekend to see it. And my goodness, it's like you guys took the last 3 weeks, saved up all of your pennies, nickels, and dimes, and then said, this is the weekend. We are going to theaters tonight, and we're going to go see it. So good on you guys for that. I did not get out to see this. I won't be seeing this. As we've discussed before, I'm not a horror guy. And you tell me you have a story about a weird sewer demon killing kids, and I'm like, nope, I'm out. Kudos to you if you got out to the theaters this weekend and saw something that you enjoyed, whether it was It or Wind River or The Hitman's Bodyguard. I was not able to get out to the weekend. I was not able to get out to the theaters this weekend. Great job on you guys for being able to get out and check out those films that were dropped. And I hope everybody had a good time and a good weekend and everything else. We got a lot of crazy stuff going on, so it's nice to see that people are still going out and supporting cinema and supporting movies and just kind of escaping from the craziness with all of the hurricanes and everything else that's going on right now. So job well done there. As far as the rest of the movies go, I mean, I'm not really surprised. Home Again looked okay. I wanted to get out to see it, but I wasn't able to. So I'm not surprised that's, in the top 5. It's a Reese Witherspoon movie. She's gonna bring in bucks no matter what right now. She's still a fun, entertaining actor to watch on screen. So I'm not surprised there. The Hitman's Bodyguard, like I said, while it's not like the most Oscar, written film or anything like that, it's not supposed to be, right? So what do we care? It's a fun movie, and it's just over-the-top action, and it literally feels like Samuel L. Jackson and Ryan Reynolds are just being themselves and reacting off of each other the whole time, and it's so much fun. So if you still haven't seen The Hitman's Bodyguard, I still recommend that you go see that film. So check that out. As far as the other two go, with Annabelle Creation and Wind River, wow. The fact that Annabelle Creation is still in the top 5 really speaks to how much you guys are enjoying that film. So great job, you guys, for going out and supporting what you enjoy and what you love. So that's cool for you. I didn't see that because, again, not a horror guy. But Wind River, I saw that. You saw my review last week for that. It's a really solid story. It's very graphic. The content in it is very adult, and it might be unsettling for some people. So, go back and watch my review on that. I'm not going to rehash it here on the Monday morning box office breakdown. But go ahead and check out that review. It's in the playlist in the review section. And as you can see below, I've got playlists set up. So if you don't have time to dedicate to the entire show and you just want some bit of news from the show, you can just go right to that playlist and ba-boom, you're all set. So let's go ahead and move on now to what's coming out in theaters this week. We have American Assassin, Mother, Brad Status. And that Brad Status is going to be limited release. So make sure you're checking your whatever app you use to buy tickets or whatever theater website you go to buy tickets to make sure that it's actually playing in your area, because it is coming out limited release this weekend. So out of these 3 movies, I am most excited for American Assassin. Stay tuned for that review because I definitely want to get out and check out American Assassin because I'm pretty pumped about that film. So coming out on DVD and Blu-ray this week, we have It Comes at Night, The Mummy, Captain Underpants, the first epic movie, and Beatriz at Dinner. The Mummy was not a good film, but it might be enjoyable in the comfort of your own home if you can get it, like just as a rental, right? And you're not spending $15 for a ticket plus concessions. So if you want to check out The Mummy on DVD and Blu-ray, like, I get it. It's Tom Cruise. It's a mummy movie. Like, I'm a fan of monster films. So that's why I was like, yes. And I have like 4 or 5 different movies for The Mummy and different versions of The Mummy. So I was pretty pumped about it. And then when I walked out of the theater, I was not so pumped. Check it out if you want. It's a cheap rental. It might be fun at home when you can not have to worry about, the price tag of going to the movies. But otherwise, the other 3 could be good too. If you have kids, Captain Underpants might be fun. I didn't see that one. That was like a cartoon that started after a period of my life where I wasn't watching cartoons anymore. So I have no point of reference for Captain Underpants. And when it came out, I didn't even know what a Captain Underpants was. All I knew is that Kevin Hart was doing a voice in this movie. And I was like, he must be doing this for his kids. So if you want to check that out, if you've got kids, that might be a good thing. I can't, sign off on it to say that it's totally family friendly because, like I said, I didn't see it, but it's a cartoon and it's about a guy named Captain Underpants. All right, so moving on to the next segment is Certified Rad. Now, if you are just joining us for the first time, Certified Rad is the segment of the show where I talk about something I found in the news or on one of my social media timelines that I thought was pretty rad. So it doesn't have to be film related. It can be pretty much anything that's out in the internet sphere, right? Or email sphere, whatever the case may be. If someone's like, hey, dude, check this out, and I look at it, I'm like, wow, that is pretty rad. There's a good chance I might talk about it here, and it could have nothing to do with film whatsoever. So this week's Certified Rad, and if you want to watch the other Certified Rads, you'll have to go back to the previous episodes and check those out. But this week's Certified Rad is going to be with regards to the Hurricane Harvey and the relief efforts going on in Texas. So while we sit around and wait to see what the damage and the fallout is going to be in Florida for Hurricane Irma, we still have folks that are receiving aid in Texas from Hurricane Harvey. So it's a crazy time right now in the Gulf and down along the peninsula in Florida. There are still people that are sending out aid, sending out trucks. I know for a fact in my town, a buddy of mine that I went to high school with was posting about how his church rented U-Hauls. And they're U-hauling stuff out to the Houston area for support. They're going to be out there all week. They're not the Certified Rad. I'm just pointing out that there are still people right now, probably in your area if you're close to Houston or just a day's drive away, that are just sending support out there to try and help the victims of Hurricane Harvey kind of put some semblance of life back together. So this is happening, and then we're going to be also working as a country to try and rebuild what's going on in Florida. So just, put your boots on, get those work jeans going, because we're going to need your help trying to fix everything that's going on in this country. So get prepared for that. But for this week's Certified Rad, we're actually going to be talking about Trey Hamlet of Katy, Texas. Now, people.com or the magazine People, you can pick it up at your grocery store, when you're in their checkout, how they have the little whoosh right there, and you can, oh, look at this magazine. People has a special coverage of all of these awesome people helping people moments in the news right now. And this is one of them that I found on their website. So this is for Trey Hamlet from Katy, Texas. So what's going on here is he's, hanging out, and then he sees that like all of his neighbors need help because of what happened with the hurricane. They've got all of their stuff out from their house that they were able to salvage that didn't get ruined, and they're literally just sitting around like waiting for someone to come around and help them fix their life. So what does he do? He looks at his situation and he goes, you know what? I've got a boat and I've got a dump truck, and I think we can do some good here. So he straps up, gets in that boat, ferries across the water to his neighbors, helps them with what they were able to salvage, puts it on the boat, ferries them and whatever they've salvaged back to his dump truck, leaves it in there, and then they drive to safety. Incredible. People helping people. He just saw an opportunity and he said, I can help here. I'm going to help. That's the American spirit. I love it. I love seeing these pieces because I don't think we get enough positive news in the news. I think it's a lot of doom and gloom, and I'm over it. So here is positive news. So for you, Trey Hamlet, this week, you are certified rad. So thank you so much for stepping up and heeding the call of duty and helping your neighbors in a time of need. Certified rad. So if you guys see stories like this, I encourage you to share them in the comments below. And let's just keep reminding people that there is still some good in this country, even though there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. All right, that pretty much wraps up and concludes episode 10 here for Brunansky's vlog. Thank you so much for joining me again this week. If you enjoyed any portion of this episode, go ahead and give me the thumbs up. Also, if you haven't already, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Now would be a great time to do that. And that pretty much wraps it up for my talking. So the most important and valuable thing going forward from this show isn't what I had to say here on this week's episode, but the conversations that we keep going and you guys start in the comment section below. So sound off below, share your thoughts and feelings about anything we talked about this week. If you saw It and you want to give your own personal review or critique of the film It did gangbusters in the theaters, as we just discussed. So go ahead and use that comment section to throw your review down. And if you see anything that you agree with or disagree, go ahead and join in on that thread too. That's what the comment section is there for. I want to take this last minute just to remind everybody, below is all of our social media for Brunansky's vlogs, so make sure you're following us there as well so you can stay up to date with everything throughout the week. And I look forward to seeing all of you next Monday, as always, and have a great week. Take care. Bye-bye.